Can a ski resort with just 25 skiable acres actually be worth checking out? Let's find out. My name is Chris, and I am on a mission to rank and review as many ski resorts as possible this winter season. And today we will be ranking and reviewing a tiny little ski hill in Virginia called Bryce Resort. So let's just start off with some mountain stats. Bryce has an elevation of 1,750 feet, a vertical drop of 500 feet, 8 runs, only 8 runs, and 25 skiable acres. And then it has 5 chairlifts. However, only 2 of these are chairlifts. The other 3 are magic carpets. So just jumping into my experience with riding at Bryce Resort and what it's known for. This is actually the very first ski resort I ever rode at ever in my life, only simply because it was, I think, the closest and cheapest mountain to where I grew up. So I actually went there with one of my family friends, and I had only ever snowboarded like at the hill at my high school, and that one you would ride down like on a snow day, and there was a forever long flat section once you rode down the hill that you could slowly stop. So when I went to Bryce, I didn't know how to stop because I had never needed to know how to stop. So I was basically just like a bowling ball going down the mountain, where I was ripping it down the mountain as a little kid. However, I had zero idea how to stop. So I would just plow into people or things because I had zero idea what I was doing. I was really good at going down the mountain, but really bad at stopping. So that was my first time ever riding in my life, and it was at this resort. Honestly, probably a good spot to learn because it was very small and forgiving, but I have not been there in years. I actually don't know if I've been there since elementary or middle school, and kind of for good reason. It's extremely small. Once again, it only has 8 runs and 25 skiable acres. Also, unfortunately for Bryce, it is located in the Mid-Atlantic region, and that is kind of notorious for not being very cold compared to other areas where you would ski. And so I will give them credit. When I went, they were blowing a ton of snow. However, it just doesn't stay. Mother Nature in the Mid-Atlantic region doesn't stay below freezing very long. So once again, I give them mad props for blowing snow, but they're just doing what they can. They're working with what they can. Anyways, it was fun. I think one of my first days back on a board this year. Figured it was a great place to get the legs back underneath me. Unfortunately, only half of the tiny mountain was open. I think I only went down 4 or 5 of the 8 runs available. Honestly, for what it was kind of fun. You spent way more time on the chairlift because the runs were so short and the chairlift was very slow. I will say I did some research on how big, or small I should say, Bryce is compared to other resorts. And from my research, given that Bryce only has 25 skiable acres and 8 runs, it would place it in the bottom 10th percentile in the United States for smallest skiable acres. However, once again, mad props for them just blowing snow and trying to work with what they got. Also, it is kind of cool because this resort is on the Indy Pass. So if you happen to be in the area in which Bryce is located in Virginia, I guess it's worth checking out because it's on your Indy Pass. Why not just go and check it off the list? But you know, it's a very small resort, and it's definitely not worth making a trek of any distance to check out. But if you're in the area, why not go and support, a little local hill? I did look up the Airbnbs near the resort because I don't think I saw a single house, like cabin, on the slopes, which is understandable how tiny it was. But I will say the Airbnbs that are nearby are actually pretty freaking sick. However, they're also outrageous for I feel like the only attraction that would bring people to this area would be the ski resort. The housing prices were as expensive as going to like any other resort in the Mid-Atlantic region. So I don't really know why it's so expensive, but the housing options, they were pretty sick. They were pretty cool. As far as food goes, there's no nearby town or city of any size. Bryce is sandwiched between like locationally between, I would say the biggest areas nearby would be Front Royal, which is north of Bryce Ski Resort, and then Harrisonburg, which is where Massanutten is, which is south of it. It's kind of like perfectly in between those two towns, but those are both 45-minute drives. So there's really no like local town or anything nearby that has like a lot of good food options. They do have resort food and some cool little bars and restaurants there at the slopes for it being such a tiny resort. However, when I went, I was not gonna waste my money on any sort of food at the slopes. So now let's jump into where I would rank Bryce Ski Resort, both regionally, which this one is gonna fall into the Mid-Atlantic region, and worldwide. So for the Mid-Atlantic region, once again, no shade at Bryce. I just have to rank it what it is. For the Mid-Atlantic region, I would place Bryce in the D tier. Once again, they're just doing what they can with what they got. So mad props to them for that. Then worldwide, I would place Bryce Resort in the E tier. Once again, no shade to Bryce. Everyone there that I interacted with, which there weren't a ton of people there, all seemed very nice, very friendly. So it wasn't like I got poor hospitality. It's just when you got only 8 trails and only 5 of them that I could even check out. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I can't give you, I can't go any higher than E tier worldwide. So anywho, I hope you enjoyed this ranking and review of Bryce Resort. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my ranking, and also be sure to let me know which resort I should check out next. Also, if you want any merch for free, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and then slide in my DMs on Instagram letting me know that you left a comment on my video, and subscribe to my channel. And every video that I drop ranking and reviewing a ski resort, I give out a free piece of merch to one lucky subscriber. So if you want to be that lucky subscriber, that's all you have to do. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and just send me a DM on Instagram letting me know that you did so. And with that said, peace out, y'all. And if you like this video, you'll probably like these videos as well.